Week 1 is here. Man, I've been waiting a really long time to say that. I have a lot of start-sits for us this week. Gonna cover every single position, quarterback all the way down to kicker and defense. So none of this goofy little intro stuff. I'm gonna get right to it because there's a lot we gotta cover. Roll! Let's kick it off with wide receiver. This one may be an obvious one, but Drake London against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in week 1 must be started, and we should be treating him almost as if he's a top 5 wide receiver. Tampa Bay has greatly improved their secondary since last year, but last year in 2024, Tampa Bay allowed the 5th most fantasy points to wide receivers. So yes, this defense and secondary did get a lot better, but it's going to be rookies starting in week 1, and we have Drake London is going to have to be guarded by either one of them. That's not good. In Drake London's last 3 games against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, in 2 of them, he's had 10 or more receptions and has went for 150 receiving yards or more. So we're expecting an explosion week 1 out of Drake London. Despite in seasons past, Drake London has been a guy that does not show up for us week 1. He's had a donut in years past, and he's also had a 2 catch for 15-yard performance in week 1. So he's known to not show up, but this matchup is way too good to pass up. Next, another slam dunk matchup for us at wide receiver. The Chicago Bears wide receiver room, Rome Odunze and DJ Moore have a plus matchup against the Minnesota Vikings on Monday night. It may be scary to put the fate of winning or losing your week 1 matchup in one of those Bears wide receivers, knowing that we don't know what the Chicago Bears offense is going to look like in 2025. But rest assured, this Minnesota Vikings secondary is not good at all. They gave up the most fantasy points to wide receivers last year, and while it may not be the worst in 2025, it's definitely going to be a plus matchup that the Chicago Bears and Caleb Williams are going to be able to take advantage of. I feel like with the upside and what could be with the Chicago Bears offense, I don't want to leave Rome Odunze on my bench Monday night and know that I lost because he had a pretty solid week in a good matchup, because I felt like a more proven commodity was worth my flex spot. While those may have been the obvious names, we're all starting those players if we have them in most leagues. Definitely take advantage of the Bengals and Browns wide receivers. That game should be somewhat of a high scoring game. The wide receivers should be involved, and I like the matchup. So if you have a Jerry Jeudy, a Cedric Tillman, if you have pass catcher like a David Njoku or even a Chase Brown, you're going to feel really good about them in this matchup week 1. Vegas has the over-under line for the Browns-Bengals game at 47.5, so there will be points scored. Maybe you're lucky and you get that touchdown. Finally, short and brief, Travis Hunter must be started at wide receiver. The skills are way too good to leave him on your bench. I don't think that's a good idea. If you have him, play him. Great matchup too. Not too many wide receivers we're fading, but definitely stay away from the Saints wide receiver room. If you drafted maybe a Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, I would probably stay away from those players. I don't think there's going to be much opportunity. The Cardinals defense is very good, or at least their best strength is the secondary. They were very good against wide receivers last year in fantasy. I'm probably not touching them. Moving on to running backs, I really like RJ Harvey and J.K. Dobbins against the Tennessee Titans in week 1. They're playing a home game, so they're definitely going to take advantage of their ailments of being in the Mile High City. A lot of running the football, trying to get the defense off guard so Bo Nix can unleash with some deep shots later in the game. It's risky for sure because we don't know who's actually going to get the bulk of the carries between J.K. Dobbins and RJ Harvey right now. But given that the Tennessee Titans secondary was really good against wide receivers last year, I don't see this being a game where Bo Nix is going to throw for 300 yards and have Courtland Sutton having a 100-yard game as well. This may be a game that's won in the trenches running the football between the tackles. The Denver Broncos will probably win this game, be sitting on the lead late in the game. Both of these running backs are going to have opportunities. You'd like to see 8 to 12 from either one of the players you start, but if either one of them gets a touchdown, you'll be in great shape. Tony Pollard also has a chance to produce in this matchup. However, the Denver Broncos have a much better matchup against the Tennessee Titans rush defense than the Titans do against the Broncos. And not to keep using Vegas lines, but Vegas thinks that this game with a line of 42.5 isn't going to be a whole lot of points being scored. So I'll take the chance that RJ Harvey or J.K. Dobbins falls into the end zone or gets 12 carries on the ground and is efficient with them versus whoever else I may play on my bench. Next, we have Jerome Ford. I feel like we're forgetting that this is probably going to be the guy getting 8 to 12 carries week 1. While Dylan Sampson might be the long-term value pick, week 1, Jerome Ford has a lot of potential to be a guy that scores a touchdown. We talked about him being in an offense that could be a shootout. This is also a guy that gets targets as well. We're talking about a running back that has the floor of getting 2 to 5 targets in the backfield, receiving and 8 to 12 carries, and he's going to be in a shootout week 1. Start Jerome Ford. There aren't many running backs I'm going to say you should fade this week in week 1, but definitely temper your expectations on Isiah Pacheco, as the Chargers defense is very good against the run. Not to mention they are a run first team of their own, so they're going to try to dominate time of possession as much as possible. They may not be successful in doing that, and Pacheco could have a good game, but I would bet on the latter, that Isiah Pacheco doesn't get many carries on the ground, isn't very utilized in the receiving game. The Chargers could just potentially play keep away and not let Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid get that much time to do what they do best, destroy people. At the quarterback position, I like Jordan Love for week 1. He's probably still out there if you're in a smaller league. If you're in a larger league, maybe he's somebody's backup, but I'm definitely playing him this week because the matchup against the Detroit Lions has been very favorable in fantasy for quarterbacks. Yes, this is a run-first offense. Yes, the Detroit Lions have shown that they are a legit defense in years past, but the Lions aren't this defense that hold teams to 14 points or 17 points. The Packers are going to score points in this game. It's going to be a track meet. The Detroit Lions defense has been getting a lot of hype lately, but they've also been giving up the 7th most fantasy points to quarterbacks lately, which was the 2024 season. But if that's not available for you, I'm sure you already have a better quarterback. If you're a DFS, you like to play the daily fantasy games, I highly recommend, or even if you're in a deeper league, Bryce Young this week against the Jaguars. That could be a fun game. He has a great matchup against the Jaguars secondary. I think the Jaguars Carolina Panthers could be a sneaky game where we get some good fantasy players out of that, and Bryce Young is one of them. I highly doubt any of you are, but if you are starting any of these quarterbacks, I would consider sitting them. I would not play any quarterback that's playing against the Bears, the Dolphins, the Packers, the Eagles, and Steelers. The exception to that would probably be Jared Goff, if any of them, but I still would rather you go play somebody else. If one of the names I mentioned previously are available, then definitely scoop up one of those guys. If not, you do what you got to do. And I probably don't like Dak this week, because do you really want to start your season, your week 1 fantasy season off with maybe it doesn't go great for the Dallas Cowboys. Maybe he scores you 13 points and you're just looking at that all weekend long, Friday to Sunday, saying, damn, I can't believe I just played this guy at quarterback. I'm going to take a streaming quarterback if I had the choice, because that Eagles defense made Patrick Mahomes look silly in the Super Bowl. I don't know what we're going to do. Moving on to the tight end position. Hunter Henry is a must start this week at the tight end position against the Vegas Raiders. Everyone's hyping up Jonnu Smith and Arthur Smith back together as an OC tight end pairing. I want Josh McDaniels and Hunter Henry, because the last time they were paired together, Hunter Henry was a startable, legit tight end in fantasy. The last time these two paired together, Hunter Henry was the premier red zone threat for the New England Patriots, and right now they really don't have that. Vegas also gave up the 2nd most fantasy points to tight ends last year, so it's wheels up for Hunter Henry in week 1. The tight end we should sit this week in week 1 is Mark Andrews, and it has nothing to do with the playoff game last year. It's simply the fact that Buffalo is surprisingly good against giving up fantasy points to the tight end spot. Last year they gave up the 2nd fewest fantasy points to the position, so I'm probably going to stay away from Mark Andrews in week 1. There's plenty of receivers to catch touchdowns in this offense. You have Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, DeAndre Hopkins, plenty of guys that can both run the ball and catch the ball. So I'll probably sit Mark Andrews week 1 and know that there are better weeks ahead for that player. Moving on to defense. Defense wins you championships. Vegas believes that the Steelers, Cardinals, and Broncos are going to be the best defenses to play this week because they're giving up the least amount of points, according to Vegas. They're going up against teams that probably aren't going to score a lot of points. The Broncos are playing the Titans. The Cardinals play the Saints, and we don't really know what their quarterback situation is going to look like. And the Steelers play the Jets, and we haven't heard any good things about Justin Fields throwing the football in preseason or training camp. If none of those 3 defenses are available, I really like starting the Miami Dolphins defense in week 1 because Daniel Jones's week 1 career numbers are honestly comical, but I won't slander Daniel Jones any further than that. Let's talk about kicker. In week 1, I really like Matt Gay. I think this is a kicker that is in a situation where he's in a good enough offense that they will get down and score touchdowns. They will get in field goal range. Matt Gay with the Washington Commanders now has a great opportunity to score fantasy points all year long, but especially in week 1. In the last 3 seasons, Matt Gay has missed a total of 3 field goals inside of 50 yards. So you know when he's lining up for that 45-yard, 44-yard field goal for you, and you're sweating it out on Sunday night and you need the points, he's going to deliver for you. I also think maybe the Giants defense week 1 is better than what we think is their matchup. That's going to lead to less touchdowns for Jaden Daniels and the Commanders offense and more 40, 50-yard field goals for Matt Gay. And if Matt Gay is for some reason already taken in your league, I really like Chase McLaughlin as well in week 1. I think this is a kicker that can consistently drill it from outside of 50 yards, something I can't say about Matt Gay. And a team that last year had a lot of touchdowns, just like the Washington Commanders. Maybe there's less touchdowns for them in 2025 than there was in 2024, and we're lining up for more field goals, getting these kickers more fantasy points. And that's going to wrap it up for my week 1 start sits. These are the players I like. These are the players I'd be a little hesitant on. Obviously, there are other players I feel really confident about in week 1 or other players I don't feel so good about. But if I talked about every player, this video would be hours long. You wouldn't watch it. But if you did make it all the way through and watch this, thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. If you're new here, you like fantasy football content, be sure to hit that subscribe button for your boy. I would really appreciate that. If you like fantasy football content and you like this video, make sure you smash that like button for me too. That's all I have for you guys today. Fantasy football season is so back, and I could not be more excited. And the next time I see you guys, we'll be talking about players who to pick up right before week 2 starts. So let me go get ready for that. I will see you guys in the next one. Wow, you stuck to the end of this video? Thank you so much. If you're new here, make sure you check out one of these videos on the screen right now. And don't forget, before you leave, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any fantasy football videos on this channel. And that's all I got for you guys. I'll see you in the next one.